guys, this is Miss Jacobs here, and I wanted to go over with you guys how we would solve word problems. That is something that we've talked about in class today, and those who tuned in virtually to your teacher. But this is a recording just in case you have any questions or just in case you didn't quite understand what your teacher was talking about. I am going to record this so that you are able to look back and you can go back through this video and hopefully get some answers. All right, so how do we solve word problems? We're going to use CUBES. Now, CUBES is an acronym, and we're going to learn what each of these letters stand for. All right, so anytime we have a word problem, we have to look at that word problem very closely. In the past, when you've had word problems in like first, second, third grade, you've probably been able to look for some keywords like altogether, or how much left, or how many more. You've been able to look at those types of words to figure out exactly what you would do. If you would add, subtract, multiply, and then this year we're adding division to that. Well, now that you are in fourth grade, it's probably not going to say exactly what you have to do. You are going to have to infer. You've talked about that in ELA, how you look at something and you have to decide what it means. And so we're giving you some tips today on how you're going to figure out what a word problem is asking you to do. So let's look right here. First of all, we're going to start with step one, which is C. C tells me to circle all the numbers. I want to have those circled so that I can see what numbers I'm looking at. Number two, underline the question. That right there is probably one of the most important things you can do, is to underline the question and really pause and think, what is this problem asking me to find? The next thing we are going to do is box in some keywords, because there are words in our word problem that are going to be very, very helpful for us to solve whatever problem we're working on. Step 4, eliminate unnecessary information. Okay, so this means like if we have a word problem about maybe going to the store and buying something, sometimes whenever we take these different types of tests, they may throw in a little extra information, maybe about what they ate for lunch or what they ate for dinner the night before. And we don't really need to know that information to solve the problem. And then step 5 is when we solve and we check. So we'll solve the problem, and then we always check our answer, and we always make sure that our answer has answered the question that we underlined. And we also want to think, does that answer make sense? So let's work one together. Mr. Reeves wants to purchase some instruments and sound equipment for music. Miss Rowland gave him a budget of $3,000. He spends $1,487 on ukuleles and $845 on a karaoke machine. Does Mr. Reeves have enough money to also buy a keyboard that costs $750? All right, so let's start with our cubes. C, we're circling the numbers. So I have already gone through and I've circled every number that is in my word problem. And you can see there are 4 different numbers there. All right. U means that we underline the question. My question that it's asking is, does Mr. Reeves have enough money to also buy a keyboard that costs $750? So I've underlined my question in green. So I'm basically trying to find out, does he have enough money left? B, we're boxing in our keywords. So again, we're going to come in, we're going to box in some words that are going to help us solve the problem. So one of the words that I have boxed in is purchase. Mr. Reeves wants to purchase some instruments and sound equipment for music. So I've got to think, what does purchase mean? It means to buy. So if I have money and I'm buying something, what am I doing with that money? Am I adding to it? Am I putting money into my hand, or am I taking some of that money out of my hand and giving it to a salesman? Mrs. Rowland gave him a budget of $3,000. He spends. Spends. That's a huge word here. Spends. If I'm spending money, am I giving money to someone, which means I'm subtracting it, or are they giving me money, which means that I'm adding it? He spends $1,487 on ukulele and $845 on the karaoke machine. So he didn't just spend one amount of money, he actually spent two amounts of money. And then we have our question. Does Mr. Reeves have enough money to also buy a keyboard that costs $750? Now, you'll notice we didn't see any words like altogether, how much is left, how much is each. None of those questions were there. So we're having to infer, what is he asking me to do? Next, we have E, eliminate unnecessary information. Well, as I read this word problem, I couldn't find anything that was unnecessary. Everything that's talked about, I've got to use all that information in order to solve the problem. Finally, we have S, solve and check. At this point, that's where we actually solve the problem. We check our work and we think, does my answer make sense? Did I answer the question? Does Mr. Reeves have enough money to buy a keyboard that costs $750? So let's work it out really quick. The first thing that I'm going to do, and I'm going to tell you, there's a couple of different ways you can work this out. Okay? There's 2 or 3 ways you can work it out. I'm going to show you the way that I personally would work it out. The way you personally would work it out may be a little bit different. First thing that I would do is I'm going to find out how much money has Mr. Reeves already spent. So to do that, I need to add together the cost of the ukulele and the cost of the karaoke machine. So let's do that now. 1,487 plus 845. 7 plus 5 is 12. 1 plus 8 plus 4 is 13. Then I have 1 plus 4 plus 8 this time, and again, that is 13. And then I have a 2. So far, Mr. Reeves, he has spent $2,332. Well, do I have enough money left to buy this keyboard that costs $750? So I've got to do another step. This $2,332, that's the total amount he spent for ukuleles and the karaoke machine. So that's the total of those two. So now I've got to do something else, guys. I've got to see if of my total $3,000, how much have I spent? Well, let's come over here and I'm going to subtract 2,332 minus 3,000. And what my answer is going to tell me if I have enough money left to buy that keyboard that's $750. All right. 0 minus 2, we all know we can't do that, right? So we have to go next door. So our 0 in the tens place, can it help me? No, it's a 0. Zeros can't help me. So I have to go to the 0 in the hundreds place. Can it help me? Nope, it cannot. Some of you almost made me say yes. Nope, it cannot help me. So I come all the way over to my 3. My 3 now becomes a 2, and I am regrouping all the way across, one step at a time, until I get to my ones place. 10 minus 2 is 8, 9 minus 3 is 6, and 9 minus 3 is 6, 2 minus 2 is 0. So Mr. Reeves has only $668 left in order to purchase a keyboard. Is that enough money for him to purchase the keyboard? No. When I compare 668 to 750, I can see that 750 is more. So I don't have, Mr. Reeves does not have enough money left to be able to purchase the new keyboard that he wants. I bet he's a little bit sad. Maybe Miss Rowland will give him just a little bit more money so he can go get that keyboard. I know that you guys would enjoy having another keyboard in music. All right, boys and girls, we now need to see, does this answer make sense? Does 668 make sense? Absolutely, it does. Did it answer my question? Does he have enough money to also buy a keyboard that costs $750? No, he doesn't. One thing that I always like for my students to do is write their answer to the question, not just answer with 668. I want to always see a sentence that tells me the answer. So does he have enough to buy the keyboard that costs $750? I could just very simply write, no, he does not. And again, you can make that sentence your own, but I always want to make sure that you answer the question that is being asked. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our cube method. I hope that you have enjoyed our lesson today. Make sure you can play this as many times as you would like to. Make sure that when you are solving your word problems, you are using our cubes. Circle the numbers, underline the question, box in keywords, eliminate unnecessary information, and solve and check. Make sure that your answer is answering the question that's being asked, and make sure that it is making sense. All right, guys, I hope you have a good day, and I will see all of you again soon.